where you say something and people don't pay attention, and then the white man next to you says it and they think that's a brilliant idea, right? Like, we have been through that. Those are our common experiences.
Of her nomination is not simply that she will be making history. Yeah. She will be doing that. But the power of her nomination is that she will be defying history.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sheris Posen, and I serve as chair of the board of directors for the National Partnership for Women and Families. On behalf of our board members, I'm honored to welcome each of you to the virtual portion of our annual gala. The theme of today's event, Celebrating Partnership in Action, perfectly captures the legacy and the mission of our organization. For more than 50 years, the National Partnership has joined forces with leaders across our society to advance healthcare, civil rights, and economic justice in America. We've worked with CEOs and state legislators, policy experts and political activists, members of Congress, and moms on community boards. Together, we've helped our country take major strides forward in improving the lives of people in need. We're very proud of everything our organization has done and continues to do. But this event isn't just a celebration, it's a call to action. We all know progressive values have been under assault from the highest levels of the government. The decision to overturn Roe v. Wade represents a shameful attack on the basic rights of every person to control their own bodies and to determine the course of their own lives. The Supreme Court has jeopardized the physical health, the mental well-being, and the financial security of the most vulnerable among us. We cannot let that stand. We must fight back with every resource and every ounce of resolve we can muster. All of us with her brilliant ideas and her bold leadership. I cannot think of a better person to guide us forward during this pivotal chapter for the partnership and our nation as a whole. Please welcome President Jocelyn Frye.
Thank you, Sheris, for your friendship and for your outstanding leadership as chair of our board of directors. My thanks as well to our entire board, our amazing staff, all of our generous supporters, and every person joining this celebration for the vital support you provide to the National Partnership for Women and Families. Without you, none of our work is possible. This marks my 225th day as president of the National Partnership. It has been my honor to lead our organization during this profoundly important time for our country. And I am so grateful to have each of you as a partner in our journey ahead. Our work together is more important now than ever before. The National Partnership's longstanding mission is to ensure that women, and indeed people of all genders, can live lives full of opportunity and free of gender-based barriers and biases that have been used to leave too many people behind. This means the diverse experiences that women bring to the table, and especially those who face multiple forms of bias, such as women of color, women with disabilities, and trans women, must be at the heart of the policy conversations that drive our economy, that shape our healthcare systems, that determine the scope of our rights, and that secure our ability to be full participants in society. When we focus on solving the problems of those facing the harshest barriers, then we create communities that work for all. Yet we know our work is far from done. For too many women, our nation's promise of equality and freedom, of respect for human dignity, and of justice for all still remain elusive. Women remain underpaid and undervalued. We're expected to care for ourselves, for our families, and for others with little support, and to navigate a healthcare system that is plagued by bureaucracy and bias. In too many places, gender bias is used as a weapon to target LGBTQ communities and to keep women trapped in place. And now, with the stroke of a pen, the Supreme Court has eviscerated the ability of women and all those who can give birth to control their own bodies, cavalierly and callously placing their lives in the hands of politicians and judges. This is a moment when we must be bold and unafraid to pursue wholesale, transformational change. We must center our nation's priorities around the experiences of women, and particularly women of color, who continue to bear the brunt of systemic injustice in America. This means that we must fight relentlessly to restore reproductive rights, reproductive freedoms, and the right to vote. We must prioritize addressing the crisis in Black maternal health that has resulted in too many Black women dying. We must push for policies that support workers, promote respectful workplaces, and dramatically expand employment opportunities to help more families realize financial security. We must continue to call out the racism, the sexism, the ableism, and the LGBTQ bias that shuts too many doors and relegates too many to a second-class existence. And we must break down those doors. We know the road ahead will not be easy. It will require courage, and it will require perseverance. We will need to march into rooms we may not always be welcomed in, and refuse to leave until our voices are heard. Fortunately, we can find inspiration in the incredible women we will honor during today's program, a group of women who work each day to forge a fairer and more just America. They are scholars and civil servants, grassroots activists and government officials. They are change makers and groundbreakers, hellraisers and trailblazers. Our honorees embody the philosophy of pioneering leader Shirley Chisholm, who once said, "If they don't give you a seat at the table, bring a folding chair." Our first honoree certainly knows a thing or two about bringing folks around a table. Melanie Campbell is president and CEO of the National Coalition on Black Civic Participation, and she's the co-convener of the Black Women's Roundtable. Melanie is a skilled and savvy consensus builder. I have seen firsthand her ability to unite leaders from every segment of our society to improve the lives of people facing the harshest barriers through service, advocacy, and voter empowerment. She also provides a powerful platform that amplifies the diverse perspectives of Black women. And we are so happy she's able to lend her powerful voice to this event. I am very pleased to introduce our first honoree, Melanie Campbell.
Thank you so much to the National Partnership for Women and Families and your leader, President Jocelyn Frye. Thank you so very much for this honor tonight. What it does for me is just, it fuels me to keep on keeping on, if you will, to keep on fighting for our rights as women, for our families to have, and our children to have quality of life. We're in a really, really turbulent time in our nation. And I think women, we have the power to change the trajectory in this country. We have the power to save our democracy because we are the majority. And as we continue these fights against our rights, whether we're talking about reproductive rights or voting rights, that we work together. What I love about the National Partnership is our partnership and our relationship and how important that is to the movement. You play a vital role in that. And so as a leader of the National Coalition and the Black Women's Roundtable, I take this award and it warms my heart. I'm a little shy about getting awards, but I appreciate it when folks stop and say, lift you up. And again, what it does for me is it fuels me to keep on fighting for justice, opportunity, equity, equality, racial justice, gender justice. And if we keep on working together in coalition, I know we will win these battles. It's always, they say, darkest before the dawn. And we're in 2022. We have opportunities to weigh in again in the midterm elections. And so I'm looking forward to continue to work with the National Partnership, Jocelyn and your whole team. Thank you for your leadership and your service. And let's keep working together. Let's keep building and making this country better for all of us.
Now I have the pleasure of introducing our next honoree. Mónica Ramirez is a brilliant activist, advocate, and civil rights attorney. She has dedicated her career to advancing social justice, particularly for those living on the margins of society, often living paycheck to paycheck. She has been a leader in identifying the supportive services needed for survivors of sexual and gender-based violence. She works to elevate political participation within the Latinx community, and she champions stronger protections for immigrants and farm workers. Mónica leverages the collective power of people from all backgrounds to create more inclusive and more equitable workplaces, whether folks perform their jobs in an office or an open field. In 2017, she penned an open letter in Time magazine, helping to lift up the voices of 700,000 Latina workers who had confronted sexual assault within the farming industry, and wrote to offer solidarity to other survivors. Her bold leadership helped fan the flames of the global Me Too movement. We are so grateful she could join us to share the insights and lessons that she has gathered during her inspiring journey. Please welcome Mónica Ramirez.
Thank you so much to my friends at the National Partnership for Women and Families, and to my good friend Jocelyn Frye, to the board, and to the selection committee. It is truly my honor to receive this award from you. I'm humbled, and I can't believe it. I can't believe it because I respect and appreciate all of you and your work so much. So it's really humbling to receive this recognition from you. My name is Mónica Ramírez, and I'm the founder of Justice for Migrant Women and the co-founder of the Latinx House, Poderistas, Alianza Nacional de Campesinas, and some other initiatives. And through my work, as someone who comes from the migrant farm worker family and who has served migrant women throughout my career and the more than 30 million Latinas across our country, I understand just how important it is that you are doing the work that you do, and I'm deeply grateful. You know, we have a lot of work to do, and we've done a lot of work already. I'm proud of the fact that we've been able to work together to make sure that there's equity in the way that data is being collected and reported. Like the work that we've done to elevate the fact that Latinas in this country are paid just half of what white male workers are being paid. And that data that we have isn't just a reflection of full-time workers, it's also now a reflection of what part-time women workers are making. And it's not just Latinas who've been able to see in real numbers what the gap is because of this new data analysis that's been done and that we push together to achieve. It's all women workers. Through that work, we're going to be able to make significant strides because we're going to be able to make recommendations of what we know needs to change. Together, we've pushed for a more just immigration system and more just immigration laws in this country. We know that the immigration system and the laws that we have, they were made broken. They were not made to function for everyone. And I'm so honored that I have had the opportunity to walk alongside you and to work alongside you in order to push for a fair and just immigration system and laws that work for all of us. You know, I think that many of us during this pandemic, we were called on to look into ourselves and our organizations and our movements, and we were called to determine how it was that we could best do our work under circumstances that were so straining and difficult. And we showed up You showed up. The communities showed up, even though it was difficult, even though so many people were experiencing loss and hardship. And one of the things that was front and center for all of us, aside from the fact that millions of women were pushed out of the labor force, one of the things that was front and center was the fact that our country is suffering a mental health crisis, and that includes workers. And with you, we've pushed for more protections, for health and safety protections for workers that include safety measures for workers' mental health. I know that the long road ahead of us will not be easy. I know that there's a lot of long nights and days ahead of us to win justice for the people who we serve. But I also believe that we will be able to achieve that justice. I believe that we're building the world of our dreams every single day, brick by brick, together. And I'm very proud of the fact that I get to do this work alongside you. I accept this award on behalf of the farm worker women who I come from and my family, the migrant women who I serve, the colleagues who I'm honored to work with, the many community members who we learn from and grow with every single day, and to all of you who are in the field, on the ground, doing the work every single day, because we know that's what it will take to win. So thank you all so much. This recognition is for all of you, for all of us, and for all of those who we serve.
It is my privilege to welcome our next honoree, an exceptional young leader and someone who doesn't take no for an answer, Delaware State Senator Sarah McBride. Sarah understands firsthand the importance of ensuring every person receives equal treatment in the eyes of our law. Senator McBride overcame discrimination to become the first openly transgender person in American history elected to serve as a state senator. Today, she draws upon the power of her own experiences to help improve the lives of people in Delaware. Earlier this year, thanks in large part to Senator McBride's leadership, Delaware became the 11th state in our nation to enact paid family and medical leave. She is also a powerful advocate for national paid leave policies and for many other important issues confronting working people. The National Partnership for Women and Families is proud to celebrate a true champion of equality and progress, State Senator Sarah McBride.
Thank you so much to the National Partnership for inviting me to join you all today and for this incredible honor. I am so grateful for the work and leadership of my friend Jocelyn Frye, who I actually had the privilege of working with almost a decade ago at the Center for American Progress. And I am so grateful for her leadership in this progressive movement and her leadership now at the National Partnership, as well as the whole team at the National Partnership. I have a lot of friends who work there, and I am so incredibly thankful that you all are doing this critical work. You know, I am really honored to join you all today to celebrate our progress here in the first state, in Delaware. I was proud to play a small role in making Delaware the 12th state, including DC, with paid family and medical leave for workers. And I was proud to be the prime sponsor of Senate Bill 1, the Healthy Delaware Families Act, that established an up to 12-week paid family and medical leave insurance program here in Delaware, marking the largest expansion of the social safety net in our state's modern history. You know, I introduced paid family and medical leave here in Delaware because I truly believe that paid leave is the issue of the moment. Paid leave lies at both the heart of our economic and public health recoveries. We saw throughout COVID that no one should be forced to give up their income in the face of an illness. But whether someone's dealing with COVID or cancer, whether it's the terror of a serious health condition or the challenging joys of welcoming a child into their family, no one should have to choose between their family and their job, between their health and their paycheck. Paid family and medical leave helps to stop those impossible choices and allows workers and families to have both their health, one another, and their job. It also lies at our economic recovery. We know that one of the challenges that we are facing, particularly women in our society who want to work, who need to work, is the challenge between balancing so many of the personal obligations all of us of every gender have with our health and our family, and the duty we have to our coworkers and our workplace. Paid family and medical leave helps to ensure that folks don't have to make that choice, that people can go back to work and take care of themselves and their family at the same time. You know, this policy, it never would have advanced here in Delaware without the bipartisan supermajority of the Delaware General Assembly and our governor, without the Delaware Cares Coalition, Liz Richards, and the more than 50 organizations, nonprofits, labor groups, healthcare providers, business owners, so many people across this state who lifted their voices to demand change. And of course, our national partners, including the National Partnership, who provided support and expertise and guidance as we navigated this complicated policy, but this very straightforward need and goal. And so as I join you all today, I come with gratitude and thanks for that support, for helping to make change here in Delaware, for improving the lives of my neighbors in my district and across this state who will no longer have to make that impossible choice between their family and their health and their job and their paycheck. And so as we move forward, I am incredibly hopeful for all the challenges we face at the national level, that if we continue to fight for it in state after state, we can ensure that state legislatures are both the last line of defense for our rights and, just as importantly, laboratories of democracy for bold ideas that meet the scope and the scale of the challenges that we face. And if we do that work, not just here in Delaware, not just in Maryland, which also passed paid leave, not just in the blue states that have already passed this policy, but in state after state, we will not only improve our communities, we will not only improve our states, but we will lay the foundation to change this nation and to ensure that no matter the zip code you live in, no matter which side of a state line you work on, that everyone will be able to access this critical and life-saving benefit. I look forward to working with you all to make that a reality. Thank you so much.
We now have the pleasure of hearing from our next honoree, Congresswoman Judy Chu, who represents the people of California's 27th Congressional District. Congresswoman Chu is a long-standing champion for women's rights, especially when it comes to reproductive health care. Her many acts of leadership include her leadership to advance the Women's Health Protection Act, which would make the ability to access reproductive health care, including abortion care, a federally protected right. The Congresswoman has forcefully raised her voice in opposition to the Supreme Court's shameful decision to overturn Roe v. Wade. Last month, she was arrested for marching alongside a huge group of protesters near the steps of the court. She proudly carried on John Lewis's legacy of getting into good trouble. Congresswoman Chu is also a history maker in her own right. She holds the distinction of being the first Chinese American woman ever elected to Congress. And she is the sixth person to chair the Congressional Asian Pacific American Caucus. The National Partnership is proud to welcome a leader who always shows up and turns out when the fight is fiercest, Congresswoman Judy Chu.
Hello, I'm Congresswoman Judy Chu, representing California's 27th District, and I'm so honored to not only take part in this year's celebration of Partnership in Action, but to be a 2022 honoree as well. So again, it is such an honor to address you each today, and I'm incredibly grateful for this distinction. I especially want to thank Jocelyn Frye, the president of the partnership, for her work guiding this tremendous work, and I'm grateful for her leadership, which directly impacts women and families across our nation. Celebrating 51 years of tireless work and dedication, the National Partnership for Women and Families is wholeheartedly committed to ensuring women have every opportunity to participate in our society and be leaders in their communities. The partnership has also been on the forefront of the fight for economic justice and advancing civil rights for women and families, particularly for women and families of color. Additionally, I am honored to be alongside my fellow honorees this year, including Secretary Janet Yellen, Delaware State Senator Sarah McBride, Melanie Campbell from the National Coalition on Black Civic Partnership, and activist Mónica Ramirez. These incredible women are continually helping pave the way toward a more equitable and fair society, and their leadership is inspiring and much needed. We will need all of their leadership and yours in the coming weeks and months. The decision from the Supreme Court to roll back 50 years of progress for women was not a surprise, but it was still an outrageous loss. But I want you to know I will stand next to you at the partnership to fight for the bodily autonomy of every person in this country, regardless of their zip code. And we will not stop there. I will fight with you for paid family leave for all Americans so that workers have the ability to take time off from their jobs to care for their loved ones without risking their jobs. I will fight with you to end pregnancy discrimination and sexual harassment in the workplace, ensure equal pay for equal work, and to ensure that women can reach out and reach their full potential as equal members of our economy and workforce. So once again, congratulations on 51 incredible years, and I look forward to continuing the fight for a more just and equitable future alongside you. Thank you.
I am pleased to introduce our next honoree, the Secretary of the United States Department of the Treasury, Janet L. Yellen. Throughout her career, Secretary Yellen has made it her mission to center our country's economic policies around the challenges and concerns of working families. In particular, she has pushed relentlessly to expand women's participation in the labor force as a means of advancing the health and financial security of the American people. Secretary Yellen is one of the sharpest economic minds of her generation and truly a trailblazing figure in history. She is the first person of any gender to have led the White House Council, the Economic Advisors, the Federal Reserve, and the Treasury Department. Our organization is delighted to bestow yet another well-deserved honor upon her. Please welcome Secretary Janet Yellen.
Thank you for having me at the National Partnership for Women and Families annual celebration. I've spent a large portion of my career looking at disparities in economic outcomes, especially for women and families. I want to congratulate all of you for the work you're doing to forge an economy that creates opportunity for all. I approach the subject at hand today as Treasury Secretary and as an economist, but also as someone who was once a new mother trying to balance childcare with my teaching responsibilities. You and I both know well that women are the backbone of our economy. In some of our most important occupations, like teaching and nursing, women constitute a vast majority of all workers. And studies suggest that much of the middle-class income gains over the past half-century can be attributed to increased wages earned by women. Clearly, bringing more women into the workforce not only helps families, it helps our entire economy. Yet, the average woman in the U.S. who works full-time, year-round, is paid only 83 cents for every dollar paid to a man. Even when controlling for occupation, there's still a gap of about 10%. And these disparities only widen for women of color. And the inequities only grow as people advance past entry-level employment. Much of the reason for this is structural. As people progress in their careers, jobs can require longer hours and penalize individuals with caretaking responsibilities. This has a disproportionate effect on women, who often bear a larger share of the childcare burden. Therefore, making sure women can join the workforce and are paid their fair share, it's not just a moral imperative, it's an economic imperative as well. The Biden administration's economic agenda tries to address this by reducing the cost of childcare, providing families more access to home care for a loved one who falls ill, and offering paid leave to workers. Through this, we're continuing our efforts to build an economy that works for all Americans. I look forward to hearing from you about what else we can do to further this important mission. Thank you very much for being partners in this important work.
It is my honor to introduce our final speaker, the First Lady of the United States, Dr. Jill Biden. Like so many women and working people, Dr. Biden knows what it feels like to wear many hats and juggle many priorities. She is a mother, a grandmother, and a best-selling author. She served as the Second Lady and now the First Lady of our nation. She's also a lifelong educator who continues to teach classes at Northern Virginia Community College, establishing herself as the first presidential spouse in history to maintain a career outside of the White House. Dr. Biden has used her public platform to address many of our country's most urgent priorities. She's worked to provide every young person with the chance to secure a good education, from championing universal preschool and free community college to safely reopening our schools in the midst of a pandemic. She's helped spearhead the Moonshot Initiative to end cancer as we know it, an effort that is deeply personal to her and the president. She understands firsthand the essential role caregivers play in our lives, and she's been a vocal advocate for making greater investments in America's care workers. And as a military mom, she's made it her mission to strengthen services for the families of those who served in our armed forces. The National Partnership is so proud to hear from a leader who's unafraid to be her authentic self and to chart her own course. Please welcome the First Lady of the United States, Dr. Jill Biden.
Thank you, President Frye, for your leadership at the National Partnership for Women and Families. It's an honor to join so many extraordinary leaders at this event. Jocelyn, we are so proud of you, and we look forward to all that you will accomplish in this role. As the oldest of 5 girls, I never had an older sister to look up to, but I did have a sisterhood, the women who came before me, warriors for equality, who took back the night and marched for choice and change. I learned from them. I drew strength from them. And from education to employment, from reproductive justice to running for office, I saw how women could change the world. In my lifetime, we have made so much progress. And yet, here we are again, fighting battles we thought we had already won. It's wrong, and we know that women's lives are at stake. Joe is using the power of the presidency to protect women who need to cross state lines for reproductive health care. He's working to get guns off our streets and keep our schools safe. But he can only do so much when extremists are standing in the way of progress, when they block legislation that the majority of Americans want, or ignore decades of precedent to roll back rights. We have a difficult battle ahead. But here's what I know. This fight didn't start with us, and we won't let it end with us. Not until we win. Just as the women who came before, we will raise our voices, organize, and stand united. We will demand that Congress represent the will of the people, and we'll ensure that Joe has the partners he needs to make the change we deserve. None of us can do this alone, but we don't have to. As my generation used to say, sisterhood is powerful. And that's why I'm so grateful for the National Partnership for Women and Families and everyone here today. I hope this gathering of incredible women fills you with hope. I hope it inspires you and renews you for the work ahead. Because the sisterhood that will come is counting on us now. It's up to us to build the future that they deserve. Thank you.
Hello again, everyone. We've now reached the end of today's virtual celebration. I want to thank all of our guest speakers for their incredible leadership and for sharing their insightful and inspiring messages with us today. I hope you're all feeling energized and fired up for the fights ahead. And before we close out our program, I want to leave you all with a few final thoughts. I know the past few years have been hard and exhausting. We find ourselves living through one seismic event after another. A global pandemic, a massive uprising against systemic racism, an ongoing climate crisis, and now the most dramatic setback in reproductive freedom in our lifetimes. I know everyone watching today has already done so much. You've given your time and your resources to defend and advance the causes you believe in. You've given your energy and your emotions to change your companies and your communities for the better. I wish I could say that you've done enough, but the truth is we must do more. These times of tremendous change and challenge demand extraordinary resolve and resilience. While we cannot control the times we are born into, we can control how we respond. We must go above and beyond the normal course of duty. If we don't act, who will? None of us can change the world alone or in an instant. Yet there are 3 steps every person can take to help make a difference. First, donate to a local organization that provides reproductive health care, whether it's in your own community or somewhere else in the country. These groups are working on the front lines, and they will need all the support they can get. Second, donate to the National Partnership. We will continue to work closely with our allies at the grassroots level, while also advocating for desperately needed policy changes on the national and state levels. Third, speak up and speak out. Contact your local policymaker, whether it's your mayor, a member of your town or city council, or your representatives in Congress. Tell them what's on your mind and what you care about. And if they don't act, hold them accountable. At the National Partnership, we're ready to do our part to defeat those forces who are trying to take our country backwards. We'll do our part to keep pushing America forward, to help form a more perfect union. I know you're ready to do your part as well, and I have faith that we will prevail because we stand on the right side of history, because we stand on the side of progress and justice, and because we stand together. On behalf of everyone at the National Partnership for Women and Families, thank you for your support, and keep fighting the good fight.